Is it actually showing me right now? Who really knows? But either way, what's up, you guys? It's me, Andrew Douglas Moon. Super happy to be here with you. I'm doing just a little bit of a stream. I'm not going to do as long of one as I usually do, but I am trying to seriously keep this consistent. I was with you guys yesterday. I was with you Saturday. I'm going to seriously try as much as I can each night of the week for quite a while to do these streams and to keep up with it because really and truly, although I'm still going to continue to do my religious studies streams here on this channel, I really want to be a lot more active overall when it comes to doing this time together with these live streams. Let me see if I can get some slightly better visual here. I don't know if that's any better or not. But we're going to find out. Either way, again, if you're new here, if you come back and check this out later, my name is Andrew Douglas Moon. I'm a fragrance YouTuber, although I do other things here on this channel. This channel is mostly a passion project for me, where I just kind of do whatever I like. But it centers around basically fragrance, my family, and religious studies as well, because that's a huge thing for me. So when I do these streams, I'm pretty much here to hang out with you guys, answer any questions you may or may not have about the world of perfumery, which is one of my biggest passions in my entire life and has been as far back as I can pretty much remember at this point. I love fragrances. Just to give you an idea, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blues, the original Eau de Toilette was pretty much my first fragrance that I ever really fell deeply in love with right after my mom introduced me to DKNY's Be Delicious, the green apple scent. So I've been a huge fan and a student of perfumery for quite some time, but I've only really truly taken it very seriously within this past probably about a year and a half now, and trying to learn as much as I can and then teach it with you guys as well so we can spend time together. So if you're in any way interested in perfumery, if you have any questions whatsoever and you would just like to hang out and talk, you're more than welcome to join me here on my stream. And I have a pretty decent little community, like a lot of people that I've been enjoying coming by and talking with. So you're always welcome to ask any questions you should have, as long as you're being respectful to each other and to me. We keep it family friendly here, so that way anybody of all walks of life can feel welcome. But if you're just looking to hang out and have a nice time and keep it chill, everybody's welcome to join. And so again, as much as I possibly can, I do these fragrance streams. I don't have every fragrance in the world, but I do have quite a few. Not too many, not nearly as much as like certain other people do. But again, I buy everything myself. I don't get like free stuff. Nobody sponsors me, except for every now and then. I will say, these magical guys right here. I owed them this for quite some time, and I didn't do it when I should have, and I feel bad about that because I've talked about them a lot, but I haven't actually taken the time to show my full-on support in the way that I should have because they've been really kind to me, and I just got a little bit busy with the loss and family and stuff. But Sensual Obsessions, they actually did. They're the only people who have sent me anything for free, and they sent me a little sample box, and they also, like, I was able to create my own little fragrance on their website. So I deserve to show these guys some love. Because again, everything else that I ever do reviews for and stuff, I buy it myself. But these are the only people who've ever actually sent me anything. And they were also like, I've had offers from other companies, but they normally have a catch to it, and you have to say their stuff is good in exchange for any money or like free stuff. So like bigger companies, if you, I'm not going to name names because I feel like it would not be the smart thing to do for me business wise, but if you are on TikTok or any of those websites, basically any of the names that you can think of for dupe and cheapy companies, I've been reached out by a couple of those already. And again, they basically have the catch-all where you have to say their stuff is awesome in exchange to actually get paid and be sent anything. So I'm not doing that kind of crap, but I will say these dudes actually were serious. Sensual Obsessions, they're based out of Florida. They actually were straight up like, hey, if you don't like it, you don't have to say it's good. And they also were even willing for me to do a video or do any videos where I talked about their stuff if I didn't like it and be able to give it across. So I got serious respect for anybody who does that kind of stuff. And on their Instagram, so they're not paying me and I'm not sponsored. I'm just being sincere. Like, compared to those bigger name cheapy brands. And by the way, real quick, what's up, my friend? Scent of the Day Imagination. That's awesome, Diego. Super happy to see you. Fatima, very happy to see you. I hope I pronounced your name properly. If I ever pronounce anybody's name wrong, I am sincerely sorry. Again, my name is Andrew Douglas Moon. I'm a fragrance YouTuber. I do a couple other things on this channel, religious studies and other stuff that I'm very interested in and been studying for many years. Certain types of education, but it's mostly about fragrances and family. And you're all welcome here as long as you're being respectful to one another. If you got any questions, again, I'm not an actual professional. I work around fragrances. I have quite a few. But again, it's all subjective, so I'll give you my thoughts. If you ever ask me about fragrances and I don't personally, I've not had exposure to it, so I can't give you any good thoughts, you're more than welcome to like help other people in the chat. If you see somebody talk about something and I say I don't know, Just in case you're new here, I have this rule of three. So I don't give my real thoughts and opinions on fragrances unless I've worn them on my skin three different occasions and given them a chance to see how they perform and stuff like that, so it can be a more sincere answer. On the flip side, I will tell you, if I like something on first impressions, but other than that, I don't really like to give my thoughts unless I've really tried it out. With that being said, I went to Diptyque today and got my nose on some. Did you seriously? I need to know. I need to know how you felt about it. Please let me know. And Jeff, it's two new Rasasi Hawasas coming out. I didn't even know about that. Like I dished the other day. So I have everyone that I know of at this point. So Ice, Hawas Black. Is that what it is called? Hawas Black? Hawas Ice, Hawas Black, Hawas Tropical, Hawas Fire, the Elixir. I've got all those so far. I'm not like the biggest fan of Hawas, to be honest with you, but do have Game of Spades Moon. I actually don't have anything. Is it Joe Milano? I don't have anything by him just yet, or that company. I don't know who makes it, but I don't have anything by that company just yet because, again, I've kind of been trying to continue my collection of like Amouage and things along those lines. I know that cheaper fragrances along those lines like very popular, but I just try to branch out as much as I can. Yo, ain't caught alive in a good minute. What's up, JJ? One is called Atlantic, and hello, Mitra El Le Perfume. Thank you for coming through here. I'm sorry if I missed any of your other comments, but please feel free to continue to ask questions if you would like to. Again, as long as everybody's being respectful, everybody's welcome here. But yeah, I'm super happy to see you, my friend. On the Bible studies a few weeks ago, doing a test ride of the Caspian Cherry. That's awesome. I'm so happy to see you here, JJ and Diego. Sprayed on, timed out. It was so nice. You're very fortunate. I'm glad you was able to get the chance to go do that, Adriano. I started a collection with JPG Elixir and 1 million. Which one should be next for you? Dior EDT or EDP? So for me personally, again, this is just my personal opinions. I would say Dior Sauvage EDP. I would say personally my favorite is the Parfum edition, but I think that the EDP is a really good fragrance. So you did some good choices there to start with, by the way. Like I said, I'm not trying to bash anybody in particular, but I always say on my channel, again, I'm not sponsored or paid or nothing. Like I buy these. A lot of TikTokers and channels out there are sponsored and paid. So when I say that, I'm not bagging on anybody because it's good to make money doing something you enjoy. But unfortunately, these emails that you receive as a creator from these companies involve you having to basically lie. You don't get to be honest. At least you don't get to say if you like something or not, or if it really performs well or not. To get paid, you have to say it's in their contracts. You have to say it's good. So that's why I do this personally. Is I want you guys' actual opinions. I give you my opinions, and we try to keep a real open atmosphere and be honest here. So, with that being said, a lot of people in the community like to say that things like 1 million is not good anymore, it's overhyped. That's not true. They're actually really good fragrances, just being honest. They have a new 9 p.m. elixir out. They do. I'm not really a fan of the original 9 p.m. myself. It's well made, but it's a little too youthful for my personal taste. That's just me. So, no offense if you guys like it. It's just a little too on the youthful side for me personally. Diptyque has been on my list for quite a while too. Me too. That's why it's really cool that they actually had a place you could go to and test those out. Oh, Capital, so good stuff. Enjoyed. Awesome. Dude, I'm so happy you got to go do that. It brings me a lot of joy. Well, real quick, before we get deeper into any other questions, again, you guys, as long as you're being respectful, if you're not respectful, like if you start being vulgar or rude to anybody, my mods are going to boot you out of the chat. I just try to keep it family friendly here, but as long as you're being respectful, we're all welcome. This is a community here. Everybody's welcome to ask questions or just tell me what fragrances you love, what you're wearing today. But before we get too deep into that, please feel free to comment, and I do my best to keep up with every single comment because I'm not better than anybody. Again, that we're all in this together. But I do want to continue to show love to these guys because, like I said, I buy every fragrance that I do, the dupes, all that stuff. I buy them myself, so that way I'm seriously giving you my honest thoughts. With that being said, there is one company ever that's actually sent me free stuff, and I cannot believe that I forgot to be honest about them and to talk about them other than the one that I made. So, Sensual Obsessions. Just throwing this out there. They didn't ask me to, but I feel bad because I haven't taken the time to show them the love they deserve. They're based out of Florida, here in the United States, a little bit more south than me. I got to make my own fragrance. It's a 30 mil. So like for $45, you can basically pick your own notes and make your own fragrance on their website, and they're incredible. Like these dudes are actually really good. I will say it's kind of scary picking out your own notes because figuring out what you want to do can be a little tough. But I made my own, and I love rose. I love floral stuff. My wife has professionally worked with flowers for a long time, so anything floral and rose oriented makes me happy. So that's kind of seriously based on what this was. But with that being said, they also sent me a sample pack, so I just kind of want to talk about that for a minute. Please, you guys can ask whatever you want. I'm a rambler. If you ever come by my channel, you'll see I talk quite a bit. That's just who I am. If you don't like that, that's fine. There's lots of other fantastic creators out there. But here, as much as I like you guys talking, I talk too. So if you're cool with that, you're down to chill. But so I will side trail to answer you guys or respond to stuff. But like I said, I want to show these guys love because they are fantastic dudes. They're very responsive, and I can't believe, unlike the other emails that I've got from other companies, these guys, smaller company, their reputation way more depends on what people say about them, and yet they literally did in the messages. I'll even screenshot them and show you guys at some point. I don't really care if they're cool with it. But the dudes over there really were like, hey, if you don't like it, that's okay. Even if you make a video about it, it's okay if you don't like the stuff or whatever. But we just put our heart and soul into it. So I was like, I respect that. If you guys say that you don't mind if I don't like something, I respect that. So kind of wanted to do a little run through these dudes real fast while we're here. Just to show some love to them because actually me and everybody I work with, and again, I work around fragrances and candle making supplies at my own job, my full-time job. And everybody that I've shown these to so far, men and women of all different like personal tastes, have been enjoying these. So just want to show these guys some love. With that being said, thank you, Adriano, for commenting. I'm sorry that was a long derail. I'm 28 and I like 9 p.m. Surprisingly, it gets me the most compliments. So 9 p.m. is very bubblegum, and that's what makes it so youthful to me. That's what I don't love about it. I was actually talking to one of my buddies at work today. So if you didn't see the other lives recently, I can't wait to do like full reviews on these because so I'm not a top 10 channel. If you ever come check out my reviews, they're very boring for a lot of people because I just do one fragrance at a time, and I was inspired to do that to get in depth about it, but from a different take from the guy who inspired me, and that was Aaron Terrence Hughes. I love the dude. Never met him, never talked to him, but he very much inspired me because he is a perfumer himself, classically trained in perfumery and then cosmetic pharmacology, not pharmacology, cosmetic perfumery and chemistry. And so he does things from a more scientific breakdown. For me, I just talk about things that like I feel, things that are more meaningful to me when it comes to my fragrance reviews. So with that being said, I actually just finally got one of his fragrances, and I've absolutely fallen in love with it. I got Athena, so it's sandalwood, rose, jasmine, and a few other things like pear notes and stuff. But especially the rose accords coming across with the sandalwood. It's absolutely beautiful. Like I didn't just think. I told myself before I got it, if it doesn't matter how much I am inspired by him. If I don't like it, I'm going to say that. I need to be sincere. And I was really surprised. It brought me extreme amounts of joy how there's depth to it. I've got a lot of rose fragrances. Rose incense from Amouage is one of my favorites. Ardent by Boadicea de Victorious has rose notes to it that I really, really love. But I am going to be sincere. It is my favorite one that I've come across so far. So thank you, Aaron. If you ever, he probably never will, but if you ever see this, thanks for making the stuff you did. With that being said, I have a couple more coming in tomorrow, and I'm very excited about that. But so all that crap I just said, real quick, let me answer, see what you said here. Yo, can you tell me about JPG Le Beau Le Parfum? I'll take a side pause real fast. So I just did a review. If you guys want to ever go check out my actual reviews, like I said, I normally do one fragrance at a time. Sometimes I do comparison videos, but for the most part, I like to just do a sincere breakdown of like an actual fragrance instead of doing top 10 because I think everybody does that stuff. It's a little played out. Top 10 best summer fragrances. There can only be so many top 10s, right? At the end of the day, fragrances are subjective and it's really up to the person. But for me personally, I just did a video yesterday comparing Hawash Tropical to Le Beau Paradise Garden because my wife's absolutely in love with this one. Paradise Garden is an incredible, incredible fragrance, but Le Beau Le Parfum, this is absolutely beautiful fragrance. To me, so just throwing this out there, I know you didn't ask about Paradise Garden, but again, I'm a talker, so please bear with me. But this one is a lot more of an aquatic coconut water type of feel. Even the color versus the original represents a lot of the distinction for me. So this is much more summertime forward. So it's like a coconut water sandalwoody type of feel, and it's absolutely aquatic and beautiful, but still really strong, really radiant. The original Le Parfum, Le Beau Le Parfum to me is very dense, so it's not quite like a pina colada type of feel. It's very just powerful coconut, rich, almost creamy, woodsy type of vibe going on underneath it. I don't remember the specific notes, but I can honestly say that it shocked me when I got this because this is the Le Parfum, so it's an eau de parfum, but it's titled Le Parfum. But this one lasts like forever on clothes. It definitely, has a distinction that feels kind of summertime, but Paradise Garden really is like the summertime king, whereas I can see you even with the coconut notes wearing this during like the fall and winter time. So for the price range, I think it's like $140, $150, something like that, at least in the US. It's really fantastic. So definitely for me, I think it's a wonderful pickup for most people. There's a dupe-ish of it, which is Hod Lodge Island. It's very good, very close, but still, I'm just not the biggest fan of dupes. That's like I try to say, not to crap on anybody, but the TikTok community is always pushing because again, they get these companies, the cheaper companies sponsor people, so that's kind of why you see that a lot. The echo chamber of whatever the newest clones and dupes are. It's a bunch of crap. Some of them are good, but for the most part, it's just a cash grab. If I'm not saying none of them are good. So like again, Hot Lodge Island and stuff, Vanilla Dunes is pretty decent. Liquid Broom, pretty good stuff overall. But for what it's worth, I would recommend you save your money and just build a collection of things that have like seriously good quality to it. So no, don't just go buying 1,000 things. I do reviews. You don't need 1,000 fragrances. Just get a couple that you really, really love, that have good quality and have staying power and uniqueness to it. So again, I'm a rambler, but definitely the Bola Parfum is fantastic and incredible performance. So I highly recommend you get this if you're interested in something that's more year round. If you want just a serious summer fragrance, Paradise Garden's kind of more where it's at. How long did it take you to create your collection? That is a good question. So for me personally, by the way, I'm sorry if the audio is not absolutely great. So I'm trying out new microphone stuff, and today I decided just not to wear one at all. Thankfully, it's pretty decent here in the closet, and hopefully you guys can hear me okay. But so basically, for me personally, most of what you see here, I actually put together right after we moved. So, excuse me, before me and my wife sold our old house, I had a pretty decent sized little collection, probably enough to fill up this whole top shelf here and just a little bit down here from just over time, me being passionate about fragrances in general. And so those are ones that mostly just spoke to me before I had actually taken a dive into the more niche world. At that time, probably the most distinct thing I had was Sauvage Elixir, which I love. But basically, after we moved and we had a chunk set aside where I was able to kind of do something with it, I was like, okay, well, I love fragrances. And again, for me personally, being inspired by people like Aaron Terrence Hughes, I saw a lot of stuff out there in the community that was kind of just pushing crap at you like salesman style. And I thought, okay, there's other people who are doing it more sincere. I'd like to do something like that. So instead of being a perfumer or something, I work around fragrances and candle making and stuff like that. But I'm just a regular person. So I thought it'd be cool if anybody wants to listen. So with that said, it took me overall probably about maybe 2 months to really piece all this together as you see it now. And then I started working my way through it little bit by little as I was trying to get myself ready to do actual reviews. So with that being said, a chunk of it I acquired over the course of years, and then the good rest of it was after we sold the house. I was able to piece it together. But I just want to throw this out there. For most of the people, I will always say, if you're not doing reviews and things like I'm doing, and not trying to encourage a community like on the internet as something like that or as an entertainer, I really do not suggest ever trying to get anywhere close to this many fragrances. It's completely unnecessary. Some people say they aspire to have all this one day. You shouldn't, unless you, again, you want to be like an actual reviewer or it's like a part of your career. For the most part, I would recommend having no more than anywhere between 2 to maybe 7 or 12. Like, I know that sounds like a little bit of a jump, but between 2 to 12 is probably a good range to express yourself, depending on how into fragrances you are. That's kind of the range that I tell people to stick around. And again, cheaper ones all the way to like very expensive, somewhere along those lines, just whatever you really gel with and connect to. So, with that being said, could you compare JPG Lamella Parfum to Elixir? Absolutely, the Mighty Birdman. Fun name, by the way. Thank you for stopping through. I will do that in just a second. How am I, and how are you liking Athena? What does it smell like? So, Sigma Fort, thank you so very much for asking me that, and I actually really appreciate it. So, I will get to you in just a second. I want to answer my other buddy real fast who just commented. And again, by the way, everybody, my name's Andrew Douglas Moon, and this is my channel. So mostly it's fragrances, but I also in like live streams and stuff because I've been doing religious studies for a very long time. I teach that stuff here on live streams as well, like biblical studies and ancient Near East studies and stuff like that, Hinduism, all that stuff. Like not stuff necessarily all that I practice, but I teach that stuff here. Is anybody who's interested. So with that being said, though, it's mostly fragrances and. So just throwing this out there, everybody's welcome as long as you're being respectful to one another. Everybody's welcome here. So, Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Mal Elixir and then Le Mal Le Parfum. These are very, very, very special fragrances to me. I'm not gonna, I move my hands a lot. You'll see that during my streams. So I am going to take these out so I'm not making too much clicky clacky. I actually do wish that they had some type of like lid of some sort that goes on these like a cap. But basically, for the most part, this was the one that I got first. Like my very first introduction ever to the JPG line was this one, the Elixir. And it's funny because I thought, well, I probably should start with the EDT and build my way up just to get a feel for the note profiles. I was like, you know what, now I'm gonna go all in and get the gold bottle. And I absolutely fell in love the moment that I got my hands on this. This is honey, tobacco, lavender, tonka bean, and it is like a little benzoine as well. I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense if you haven't started to dive into structural chemistry when it comes to fragrances and different notes and stuff, but we'll get there. We're going to continue to learn and grow together as a community. But this is absolutely powerful. A lot of times people say, especially again, those people who are sponsored and paid and junk are like kind of throwing things in your face, like everything lasts 12 hours. When we all know very rarely does anything last very long. Especially a lot of things weren't meant to, and they don't need to. But when it comes to something like this, it is beautiful because the price range that you pay for Elixir, it also does last like all the entirety of the day. Now again, different hormones are a little bit different, but on clothes, this sticks forever. I would say it's not as like in your face, but it is on par performance wise as like Sauvage Elixir or something like that. Or like honestly, performance wise, it comes very close to like Amouage, like Interlude 53, something like that, as far as performance. Not necessarily radiancy, but it is a very loud projector. So all day, very long term on the skin as well, especially if you're not in like a high heat circumstance, but very good for all year long. But specifically as well, I would see this as mostly kind of leaning towards, fall and winter, but you can wear it anytime you want to, even in times during the summer. I personally do. This one, on the other hand, La Mel Le Parfum, again, it's not a parfum. This is, it's just what it's called, but it is an eau de parfum concentration. But this one sits more around the, it's kind of like, I would say, lavender with iris, and it's more like a beautiful, uh, how would I explain this? It's strange to me the way, this might not make a lot of sense, but it almost has like this coolness to it, to the nose and to the senses. But it's basically like a very straightforward lavender iris type of feel, very sweet, and just overall very beautiful vanillic. So yeah, vanilla lavender iris is kind of where it's at. Completely, I know that they both share like a lavender creamy base, but this one's again honey, tobacco, tonka bean type of feel. This one is very much straightforward, just iris and beautiful. Very masculine floral is kind of the way that I would word it overall. And very powerful as well, even though it's an eau de parfum concentration. Just like this one. This one's just a little bit on the different side. Is it? No, this is parfum. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the Elixir Parfum concentration. But this one performs extremely well as well, just not quite as good. But it is still completely different note profiles and worth having both. And that's just my personal opinion. What is a good smelling vanilla tropical fragrance? A vanilla tropical fragrance, you said. By the way, if anybody ever needs me to repeat anything, or if you just want to ask more questions about something I've already talked about, please don't be shy to ask. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you got ever. So I'm just thankful for you guys being here. I really mean that. It's really beautiful to me that anybody ever stops by and asks these questions. So a vanilla tropical fragrance. That's a little difficult for me personally because I don't have too many that when I think of tropical, to me, you're saying something that has like almost citrus qualities to it, something that's more vibrant. So in an aspect, this isn't vanilla, but to some degree, to take you more into the citrus feel, something like Versace Eros Parfum or a Versace Eros Flame is definitely more of like a blood orange with vanillic, creamy, woodsy feel to it. So that's more of like a brightness to it and also rich though. It could be good for summertime or fall. But more specifically, this one is not really tropical by any means, but it does speak to me in a way that I think of it. It reminds me of the beach a lot. This is Giardini di Toscana's Bianco Latte. So it's been pretty popular lately. By the way, I see other comments and I'm going to get to you guys, I promise. I'll pull it down real fast and get to you guys. I try to keep up with everybody, I swear. And thank you, King Sword. If you could recommend a niche fragrance for high heat, absolutely. I'll do that in just a second. So this is like straightforward, like vanilla ice cream waffle cone type of feel. It doesn't really, it's Bianco Latte, but it doesn't really have too much of a coffee feel to it. It's just mostly like a delicious, beautiful, fresh baked cinnamon waffle cone type of thing with like strong vanilla notes, and it is also actually surprisingly powerful. Like lasts literally all day, even in a little bit of heat as well. So it's not tropical necessarily speaking, but yet it somehow manages to fit a beach day compared to a more winter day, if that makes any sense. So I definitely recommend Bianco Latte. Bianco Latte by Giardini di Toscana if you're looking for something more vanilla in nature. But as a whole, a lot of things are going to lean towards depending on the kind of vibe that you're trying to go for, because there are creamy quality notes to Le Beau Le Parfum, and Again, it's a very coconut forward fragrance, so you could think of it as tropical, even compared to the Paradise Gardener version. So I know I might talk a little fast, but I try to give you my thoughts. But yeah, for the most part, off the top of my head, I can't think of too many things that are vanilla forward and richly tropical at the same time. Herba Pura and Herba Gold, which is some of my favorite summertime fragrances from Xerjoff, which is my personal favorite fragrance house. They as well are very rich passion fruit mango type of fragrances that have a creamy vanillic feel underneath, but the vanilla is not very strong if that's what you're looking for. So, like I said, it kind of goes all over the place depending on how much you're looking for. And so, sorry if that's not any helpful at all. What is a good? For now, I have a collection JPG, Paco Rabanne, Dior, and two Tom Fords, maybe some others, but I want to focus on those. Oh, for now, I have the idea of a collection. So, as far as those are concerned, Adriano, just trying to keep up with you real quick. I think those are fantastic choices for the most part. Like Tom Ford's, it just depends on which one you're going for. So Paco Rabanne 1 million, Eau de Parfum 1 million Gold, 1 million Elixir, fantastic choices to have in your collection. Um, I'm not too big of a fan of like everything else to come out from Paco Rabanne, but those are fantastic options. Dior Sauvage Parfum, Dior Homme Intense, although newer formulations are not quite as fantastic as they used to be. I believe roughly after about 2023 or something like that, 2021 and 2024 is a good range. But in general, even newer ones are still pretty wonderful. As far as Tom Ford is concerned, it's kind of up in the air about what you're going for because in my top 10 favorite fragrances of all time, Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum, which is on the cheaper end for his fragrances, absolutely wonderful. Oud Mineral, absolutely wonderful. But as well, Noir Extreme, the Eau de Parfum edition, as well. The new Bois Pacifique was really good. It's a really good kind of like rich, earthy, woodsy feel for the summertime. But other than that, a lot of the private reserve or whatever the special batch line is a little too expensive for what you get out of it. So there's some really good ones there, but hard to recommend for a lot of people. Um, what age range would you recommend Azaro the most wanted elixir? Honestly, it is just my personal opinion, but I think of that as a little bit more of a youthful line. If you would recommend, so okay, now I'm going to get back to you, my friend King Sword. So if you would recommend one niche fragrance for high heat weather, mm, I don't know if people consider it niche or not, but I would say that Herba Pura from Xerjoff is definitely a personal choice for me. I think of it as more of like a mass appealing thing. It's not designer. I mean, it is from Xerjoff, so it's technically niche, but I kind of think of it a little bit more as like a, something along the lines of a little bit more mass appealing to me always comes across in the same vein as designer, but it's not. So Herba Pura would probably, or Herba Gold by, or even as well, Acento by Xerjoff is fantastic. So a lot of Xerjoffs is what I'm going to send your way. Reflection, the Reflection Man here by Amawise, really, really good for the season as well. High heat will hold and come through, at least for me personally. I don't know about everybody else, but it comes through for me very personally in the seasonal temperatures. Um, let's see. All of the Torino lines, so an incredible amount of Xerjoffs does a great job. Renaissance, Torino 21, 22, 23, and the new 24 are all fantastic choices. Just to me personally, Zephyro. So I know that's a lot of different options. And lastly, Opera. Opera by Xerjoff is really, really good. How is Dior Sauvage? Jay, thank you for asking. Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum. It is my second, well, I'll say third. My third favorite of the Sauvage line, although if you exclude Elixir, it's my second favorite of the line because Elixir is completely different. So I really love Eau de Parfum. For a while, it was my favorite. But to be honest with you, the Parfum concentration actually is what took over as my number one favorite of the Dior Sauvage line. It's just got a little bit more of this like earthy quality to it, but it's fantastic. So Eau de Parfum, if you're thinking about getting it, again, always get stuff that you really feel like you're going to connect to. Don't just listen to people like me online. I appreciate you being here and asking questions, but I never just recommend somebody buying something because I say it's good or anybody else. That's why it seems like I'm bashing other creators, but again, I never say names, but that's why it seems like I'm bashing like the content creation world of fragrances, and I guess in a way I am, but I'm not trying to be a jerk or be negative. I'm just saying, please don't be influenced too much by the stuff that we say, that you just go out and buy something. I always encourage people to test things as much as you possibly can. Scent of the day, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver EDP. Fantastic choice, Jason. Thank you for coming through and letting me know. And then Flavio, what's up, buddy? Thoughts on Initio Musk Therapy or one for a summer? Are you asking or one for the summer? Or is that a fragrance? I'm not entirely sure. I know there's a handful of Initios that I haven't gotten the chance to actually give much of a shot. I've only got personally four, and there's a few more that I want to get my hands on that I know of for sure. There's some that I cannot remember. So Musk Therapy, was at the store, Saks Fifth Avenue, when I was there, and I believe I smelled it off of the strip, but I honestly can't remember. I smelled way too many. So Atomic Rose, I believe, is one that I really want to get my hand, and Blessed Baraka is one I really want to get my hands on by Initio. But I don't remember Musk Therapy. But if you've personally tried it, or if you're just considering it, I'm definitely interested. If you're asking for a good fragrance for the summer, if that's what you're talking about, I definitely would say that if you're looking for like an Initio scent, this one, if you're going in that price range, is absolutely fantastic. So Initio's Paragon, if you're looking for a good summer fragrance by them, very like, I think if it is unisex for sure, very, very bright. I don't remember the notes, so I don't want to sit here and lie to you, but I will say it's a very powerful fragrance, like most Initios, but kind of even stronger to me than Oud for Greatness a little, because there's a brightness quality that keeps it radiating to some extent instead of being more close and earthy. But definitely, that is what it's called, right? Yeah, Paragon. So this is a extrait de parfum. That probably makes a lot of sense as to why that would be the case then. So I'm considering Narcotic Delight instead of Side Effect. So again, Narcotic Delight's one of those ones that I actually do remember I did smell, just can't remember the actual scent profile. Side Effect though, my wife actually loves that. I think that was like her number 5 when we went through my collection recently, or at least a chunk of the collection for her to see like what's her favorites that I have overall. So Side Effect is a fantastic choice. I love Blessed Baraka and Rehab. Rehab. I need to go back and check those out again because those are ones that I cannot not like off the top of my head. I seriously cannot remember their overall quality. Um, like I know that they were great. I just can't remember them very well. I'm trying to remember as well. So this is an eau de parfum. So this is the only extrait de parfum that no wonder this is so strong when I tried this out. Real quick, let me see you guys. I believe my wife. I just want to make sure I'm not driving her crazy. So we just got back from going to the gym. We've been trying to take better care of ourselves recently, so we definitely need to be doing that. Freddie Wolf. Hey, Andrew, you have any good clones or cheapies? Thanks for asking, Freddie. So just throwing this out there ahead of time. Again, my name's Andrew Douglas Moon. I know if you've been watching for a while, it's probably irritating to hear me repeat myself, but during these live streams, it's good for me to just reintroduce in case new people come through. So again, on my channel, I do a lot of different stuff. It's mostly fragrance reviews, but I also teach religious studies as well here. Everybody's welcome. No insane biases or like disrespect to anyone in different walks of life. So as long as you're being respectful, you're welcome here. With that little statement out of the way, so I'm not the biggest, how would I put this, endorser of dupes and cheapies. Not that I don't think that there's not any good ones out there. But I will say that there's way too many constantly coming out that are just being pushed at people, and ultimately because they're anywhere between $30 to $70, also not necessarily really the most money saving in the world. But I do have some good ones I'll suggest for you. So just throwing that out there that I'm not the biggest proponent of dupes and cheapies. I understand that that's very popular in the fragrance community, especially online. But if you're coming to look for that kind of stuff, you're not going to find a whole lot of it here on this channel as much. But so just throwing that out there. But I am going to go ahead and say ones that I do have appreciation for. Where did you buy your bottle of Athena? Did he restock on Max Aroma? He did Sigma Fort. So that's where mine came from, was Max Aroma. Belle de Nuit is on there. Unicorn. Boss B Word. I'm not going to say that here on my chat. And then, yes, Athena and Athena Plus. They're all currently still on Max Aroma to be shipped to the United States. So with that being said, to Freddie Wolf, I will say that Afnan's Collector's Supremacy Edition, this is actually a really fantastic, I think it's supposed to be Creed Aventus Absolute. Obviously not as good performance, but it is actually a really decent fragrance. So, the company I was talking about earlier, who are actually really wonderful guys, the only company who's ever sent me free stuff, which by the way, me saying that they're wonderful and they sent me free stuff might make it sound like, again, I'm just saying that because they asked me to. They didn't, and they're really wonderful guys. But Sensual Obsessions, who we're going to talk about some of their stuff here in just a second, show them some love. So these guys made Eagle Star, which is like one of the greatest Altair takes, like a clone of Altair by Parfums de Marly. They also have like an incredible amount of originals, which we're about to go through. But so they had a really good take on Altair by Parfums de Marly. Hot Lodge's Island is really good, as well as Liquid Brune. Or excuse me, Hot Lodge Island Vanilla Dunes, really good take on it. And then it's not hot. Yeah, it is, okay. And then the original Hot Lodge Island, which is supposed to be like Le Beau de Parfum by Jean Paul Gaultier. These are actually really good fragrances. So I throw these out there as some love. Also, with that being said, Azure Oud. I know that there's some people who've had a little bit of a tough time with these babies, but French Avenue's Coco Morado and Azure Oud. I like these. I actually really enjoy these fragrances for what they're worth. I don't like everything by this company. I got Vulcan Few, and I talk crap about that all the time because that one's really pushed way too much, and it's not a good performer whatsoever. I don't give a crap what nobody says. And then recently, if you guys are willing to support this channel, I don't want your money or any of that crap. I just would appreciate it if you want to go check out my actual review videos. Again, I'm not a top 10 guy. I'm not sensational or none of that junk. Just like my inspiration, Aaron Terrence Hughes, I like to break fragrances down one thing at a time, one fragrance at a time, and just kind of tell you how it makes me feel and talk about performance quality and also pricing and stuff like that, and if it's and give it a rating. So this is what I did yesterday. I did a comparison of Hawaii Tropical to the original Jean Paul Gaultier, the Beau Paradise Garden. So if you wouldn't mind checking that out, but I can go ahead and tell you ahead of time, just spoiler alerts, it is worth getting your hands on if you would like a cheaper version of that. So just with that being said, where did I get my bottle? Okay, I already answered that. Have you ever tried Ziaza perfume? I have not. Cheese. By the way, I really love your name. Cheese is a very fun name, so thank you for even coming through here and commenting. It makes me happy that I get to see somebody named Cheese in the comments. But with that being said, I've not tried those, so I'll definitely have to check those out. And thank you. If you guys ever have any suggestions, you're more than welcome to let me know in the comments because I appreciate that. It's helpful to me. Again, I've tried a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff out there I've never heard of before or had the chance to try. For work or gym or just every day, is Dior Sauvage EDT the best option or is it still Parfum? So, actually, to be honest with you, the original Eau de Toilette, this is actually a really good fragrance still to this day. Still very powerful. Compared to a lot of Eau de Toilettes that are strong at first, which is what they're made for, strong at first and then wears off. This performs pretty decently for a good handful of hours. So I would say that I still would rather you get Eau de Parfum in case you're in the mix to just want to shift it up a bit, maybe have a little bit, depending on how many sprays you do. But the EDT, the price difference between this and the Eau de Parfum, especially depending on where you get it from, I would still shift you towards the EDP. You don't have to get the Parfum, but the EDT is still a fantastic option, especially if you get you a little smaller bottle. You can keep this around with you, and it is really good for the office, really good for the gym. Nothing too insane, so I will recommend it for sure. With that being said, have you ever tried Mont Blanc Platinum Explorer? I actually did. I had it and I did a review for it. I don't remember if I posted it or not, but I did do a review for it a long time ago. But I gave it away as a gift. The reason being, it was a wonderful fragrance, actually. Mont Blanc Explorer, the original, and Platinum are really good. Just not quite my style. Especially the Platinum almost had like a boozy feel, but not in the way that I was enjoying. It reminded me of like nice whiskey. I don't know why, because that's not the note qualities, and other people that I was around didn't get that. But for some strange reason, sometimes fragrances they're subjective and they really hit you differently. So yeah, I definitely had to toss that one out to a friend who he loved it way more, and he gets a lot of use out of it. So yeah, but it wasn't bad, just not for me. And thank you, Crazy Butler, for asking. Cheese, your thoughts on YSL EDP? Very, very fantastic. So you'll hear me say this a lot when other people ask about it. This was one of the originals that I had before I built this collection. So my wife calls this the snuggle smell. It's very distinct and very interesting. I love this one. It's actually also pretty dang strong. Not every YSL fragrance is that strong. I do like the new Myself. I think it's Le Parfum. But definitely YSL EDP is fantastic. So I never wear it except for like very special occasions when we're just gonna have a snuggle day. Because again, this is my channel. I'm very personable here. I like to tell you guys more about myself. So it's not like I'm just some douchebag being a content creator. I want you to get to know me if you're gonna be here, and me get to know you too. So real quick, by the way, just want to throw this out there. If you guys want to communicate very much in the comments, feel free to like introduce yourself, like tell me your actual name so I can respond to you respectfully. But definitely YSL EDP is fantastic, and it's a beautiful fragrance. It's also very unique in a way. So what is your favorite scent? And also, what is a fragrance that means the most to you from a personal note? That is an incredible question, and I appreciate you taking the time to ask me that. So there is quite a few actually that mean a lot to me on a personal note. So howdy, what's up, Joshua Ricks? Thank you so much for being here, my friend. I cannot say enough, and I will not stop saying it, how much it means to me that you guys even come through here and watch, how much it means to me you guys ask questions, because this would not be a community if it wasn't for you guys. Even if you never subscribe or watch my stuff again, I'm just happy that you're here and that we had a couple moments to talk. So you asking me that question is very special because as you can see, I like to talk and I like to interact. So with that being said, my favorite personal scent, there is a few, but give me a second. I'm really like, as you can see, like it means a lot to me. Naxos, it doesn't have a special reason why it needs to mean a lot to me. In a way, it kind of does. So I got this right before me and my wife did our move, and the move began a really difficult process. So we are extremely grateful to be here in the new house. But I like to be open with you guys and talk about things. Right before we moved, we like the house situation and moving and things that had happened with our pets and so much more stuff. It was a very and family like a handful of people in the family like passing away in succession on my side and so much more. It was a very difficult time, and I received this fragrance. Like I got it in because I had just been inspired to start really diving into niche stuff before I really built up this collection. So I got Naxos by Xerjoff. This is my first one. This and 40 Knots. So both of those fragrances are very special to me. By the way, just forgive me. Hey Omar, super happy to see you here. I'm going to get back to the rest of you guys, but I'm answering this question real quick and being seriously like telling you guys some stuff about me. But so Diego and everybody, happy to see you guys. But basically, when I got Naxos, something about the smell during a very rough time made me feel very depressed. It hit me in a weird way. This was like an extremely nostalgic smell, even though I don't know why. So it's like a beautiful honey tobacco, just sweet honey tobacco vanillic compounds. Very luxurious though, not in a cheap way. Very classic and old and powdery. But after that few days, when I first smelled it, I was very off put by it because of the emotions I was going through. So I don't know what it was. But then I smelled it again and I went crazy about it. So there is, in some strange sense, a tie between that and Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Mal Elixir. But by the way, if you can't tell, and this is the way I like to do my reviews as well, like when I talk about stuff that means something to me. For me, fragrances is very important to me, like expressing yourself, your thoughts, your opinion, your emotions, especially making memories, stuff that's important to you. So if you can't tell, fragrances mean a lot to me. And when I talk about ones I really love, it hits me in a very sincere way and a very special way. But Xerjoff's Naxos is really special to me. I'll put it like that. It's hard for me because if I had to be completely honest, the first one that hit me this way was Le Mal Elixir. So to be fair, I know that I should pick just one. I guess for most people, they want you to just pick one, but I'm gonna pick both. To be completely fair, because of meaningfulness, I'm gonna have to say Le Mal Elixir and Xerjoff's Naxos. These are my two most special fragrances and my two favorites. I don't think I want to have to choose between the two because of what they mean to me. So, with that being said, and you're absolutely right. So, most definitely, tobacco reminded me of childhood. I'm glad you said that because I completely forgot about that. You see, some people getting to know me during these long sessions that we have is helpful because sometimes you guys can help me think back to things about my own self. But yeah, absolutely. These are very, very special fragrances. Mint Leaf Gin and Tonic. That's what you're wearing today. I actually never heard of that one before. Have you ever tried Hypnotizing Fire by the Harmonist? I have not, but I appreciate you bringing that up. And M, you said you get lots of compliments wearing Naxos. I will say, this is also, again, people are always asking like what gets compliments. It's very rare that people actually will give you compliments. I'm just being honest. But it does happen with this one because there's something just special about it. It's luxurious and beautiful. But okay, so because of the connection with me and my wife, I think that in the grand scheme of things, the Mile Elixir has to win out. But Naxos is like my special fragrance for me personally. So just throwing it out there. Yeah, Xerjoff's Naxos, and then as well, Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Elixir. Very, very special fragrances for me as a whole. So I'm sorry if I get a little too lost, but fragrances are like music. They say a lot about a person wearing them. I agree with you. And that's why I love getting to experience people experiencing fragrances in a special way for the first time. So a coworker of mine actually had asked me, basically, he's a bodybuilder and he's been doing physical science for quite a while as well outside of what we do. Like he has his degrees and he's a personal trainer as well, and he's been doing it for a very long time. So he's into that. He goes to the gym quite a bit and he does performance and stuff like that. So he's up close and personal with people. Doesn't want to be too strong, and he's not worn fragrances really before that much. Although the only one that he did have, because it was gifted to him a long time ago, he didn't even know how much this is a great fragrance. But he had Dior Homme Sport and Extreme, I believe it is. And so I was like, very good choice, very good fragrance that you got going on there. But or excuse me, Allure Homme Sport. Sorry, he had that one, and I was like, that's a really good option that you had there. But he was asking me what's some other ones that I could suggest. So I brought in Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue, the original, something that would just be strong at first but fade off. And then as well, he really liked Tarathi Blue, so by Afnan. So I was able to gift those to him, and it made me so happy to see somebody really fall in love with something today. As a married man, what fragrance brings out the happiest memories or emotions of your time with your wife? Oh my goodness, you are really coming through. Um, with the best possible questions. Thoughts on ombre leather Tom Ford? I'll answer that real quick, cheese. So, by the way, again, can't stress enough that I love that name. So, this is actually, again, in my top 10 favorite fragrances of all time, the Parfum edition. The Eau de Parfum is really good, but Ombre Leather Parfum is my personal favorite. And so I love it. It's in my top, I can't remember exactly where I probably peg it at, but I would definitely say it's in my top 10 favorites of all time. Baccarat and God of Fire get crazy compliments. Heck yeah, buddy. Especially Baccarat Rouge is like an absolute killer. The 540 extract. But my wife wears that one. Like it's special to her. So with that being said, special memories and emotions definitely going to be Le Mal Elixir. And then again, like I said, Xerjoff's Nexus. Probably also going to have to say Eros Parfum, Versace Eros, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. Oh, Intense. One of the first ones that like I was able to re-get when I started rebuilding my collection. So probably to be more specific, Le Beau Le Parfum, Le Mal Elixir, Naxos, and then Versace Eros. And then as well Sauvage Elixir. Those are like the ones that connect the most with me and my wife overall. When to wear a Zorro tomorrow? Okay, so I would probably say closer to the evening, to be honest with you. Um, Rami, thank you for asking. So I would say probably wear that a little bit more during the evening time, maybe a little bit more towards the fall, but honestly, whenever you would like. Um, I don't have the most experience with that fragrance, so if anybody's new here, just tossing this out there, I have what I always call my rule of three. So if I haven't personally tried a fragrance on my own skin and give it like daily usage at least 3 times, I don't really like to give too many thoughts about it. So I yield to like people in the chat. If you got experience or recommendations, you're more than welcome to help each other out. Because again, this is my channel, but this is our community that we're doing here. So help each other out if you're willing to. What's your best Xerjoff for the summer? Well, honestly, I always go back to these babies right here. If you're trying to be aquatic and you're trying to represent like an oceanic feel, 100%. Oh, that is stupid good. There's something so if if somebody if light blue O intense grew up. Like light blue O intense is already a really good fragrance for pretty much anybody. But imagine if light blue O intense went to college and then graduated and became a CEO and bought 30 million yachts. Like if he was able to do that, that would become 40 knots. So if Dolce & Gabbana's light blue O intense went out and became a mega stupid rich and then bought like every yacht in the universe, he like hires Daniel Tosh to be his daily court jester and dance around and sing for him and make jokes. That would be what would happen. He became 40 knots. So that one is fantastic, oceanic to the core, true like chlorinic almost in like a weird way is very fantastic. And then Herba Pura, fantastic passion fruity mango feel, very creamy. It's like mango passion fruit creamy milk, but in no way, shape, or form cheap. Absolutely luxurious. I love it. So like I said, I get very passionate when I talk about these fragrances, but at the same time, again, I pay for these. I'm not sponsored, so I'm telling you like my actual thoughts. So you might, it's okay if you disagree, and it's totally fine. Acqua di Parma Arancia di Capri. Is that what you're wearing today? Uh, I don't have any experience with that fragrance, but if that's what you're wearing today, it sounds very fancy. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys. Let me see how much I've been streaming so far because I didn't have the most incredible amount of time today to do this. All right, cool. I got a little bit more time. So, I'm going to be doing this for 10 more minutes. Just throwing that out there with you guys. And by the way, I also want to say that it's not uncommon for people's favorites to change and shift. And like when you're exposed, the seasons kind of change and come and go. When you're exposed to different fragrance profiles, you're kind of going to shift around anyways to stuff that you're overall interested in. But nothing can beat the old school Drakkar. You talking about Drakkar Noir? Don't even get me started. So, being completely honest with you, like that, when I was younger, my dad had that, if that's what you're referring to. And I'll never forget when I walked into the bathroom and I saw it sitting on the countertop and I smelled it and I was like, whoa, this is what a man smells like. And because for the most part, I was only exposed to like what my mom had. And when I smelled Drakkar Noir, I was like, this is this is hardcore. And it literally, like, he got it from Walmart because that's where he was working for like the past 30 years. And I smelled it and I was like, this is crazy. So I remember putting some on before we went to church or whatever, and I accidentally put a little too much on. So I was getting some dirty looks by the old ladies there. It was a holiness church. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like a subcategory, I believe, of Pentecostalism. So like people getting all loud, crazy, talking about some tongues, like, blah, 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 blah. And basically, when you're a little boy, a little fat boy nonetheless, sitting there trying to sneakily play his Game Boy underneath the chairs while people are doing their thing, and you also reek of Drakkar Noir, it's not a good time. But I got through it. I got through it. Also, just a quick side note, not that anybody asked, but I also got made fun of that day because I recently got my little ears pierced because I was obsessed with Backstreet Boys, or excuse me, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and I wanted to be like Justin Timberlake really bad. I begged my mom to let me get a little perm and get the little curly fry hair going on. Thank God she didn't let that happen, because it probably wouldn't have went that good. But yeah, basically it was a very fun day. So all that, see, this is what I'm talking about. When you think about fragrances, it can bring back some serious memories, and definitely Drakkar Noir brings back that particular day. I am just curious to know what is the oldest perfume you have in that collection. I'll definitely answer that in just a question in just a second, my friend. But your thoughts on alt fragrances? I haven't tried any actually, to be honest with you. I hear about them often. I see little ads for them, but I haven't tried any personally. Early stages of being a fragrance head, Drakkar, Cool Water. Whew. And don't even get me started on Brute, but definitely Cool Water. I want to know, have any of you guys tried Cool Water Elixir yet? I see Fragmental talks about it a lot recently. I'm interested, very, very interested. Although, I mean, if you're used to like the original Cool Waters, when you see that price tag, it's kind of like, eh, I don't know about all that. But I do want to know if anybody's seen about the Cool Water Elixir. So the oldest perfume that I have, I don't have any that are like very. If you're talking about like age wise, like if I have any what would you call it? Uh, Antique. I don't have any antique fragrances. I would like to at some point. That would be really cool. But at this moment, the one that I've had the longest though was Dolce and Gabbana Light Blue. So how do I organize? Good day, people. What's up, my friend? Super happy to see you here. So, how do I organize my collection? For the most part, by brand, and then as well, kind of how long I've had it to some extent. So, this whole section right here is mostly like my designer fragrances from the early days when I first started growing. Although, obviously, like La Male Elixir, Absolute, and Le Beau Paradise Garden, Le Beau Le Parfum, stuff like that's kind of a bit newer from the past year and a half. This section is my PDMs, my Tom Fords and stuff like that, my Maison Francis Kirkjohn. So still more of some of my favorites. Down here, my Zerjoffs, my Amouages. Down here, I've got Guerlain, Mancera, all that kind of stuff. My Dior, and starting kind of with the Lattafas. Down at the bottom is a whole bunch more of my Zerjoffs and then a bunch of Lattafas. And then over here, it starts to kind of go. This is where all the dupes and cheapies are for the most part, in no particular real order. Um, have you tried any Louis Vuitton fragrances? Are there any that you'd like to buy? So, to be honest with you, I'm not a Louis Vuitton guy, just being straight up. I'm not a Louis Vuitton person. I think that they're very overpriced and overhyped, although there are some that are done pretty okay, but I'm not the biggest fan, to be honest with you. But I will say, what is that called? Ombre Nomad. That's one that I want to get my hands on because I did get a chance to smell it. And I thought it was pretty decent. So I've smelled Pacific Chill and Imagination now. And then I also recently had Rare Reef, but I gave that away because me and my wife both were just not feeling it. But yeah, for the most part, I don't think they're horrible. They're just not my style, and they're very overpriced. Johnson, Baby Powder, and Cool Water Cologne can't be. Oh, no, you cannot. Xerjoff perfumes are expensive, to be honest. Is it worth it? So again, I will say this: they're very worth it, especially in comparison to like the even more higher price stuff. Like I do love Amouage. Some of them though can be a little bit pricey for the value, or at least appealability. That, I don't know if that's the word, but that is a word I'm going to go with. Like, how do they appeal to the majority of people who will be around you? So, Amouage is a little bit less mass appealing compared to Xerjoffs, but definitely price range wise, Xerjoffs are definitely worth it. Performance wise, scents being distinct, regal, or luxurious. But also, if you go to websites like FragranceNet, so again, they're not sponsoring me, they're just a good website. If you go to a website like FragranceNet, you can get them for a really good price. I'm pretty sure you can get an Access on there for like $150. So that's a really good price, to be honest with you. That is a very fair position. Agree with you. It was probably the one most worth it. That's awesome, my friend. Three fragrances for life. Okay, so if that's going to be the case, I'm going to go La Mal Elixir. Uh oh, this is tough. Three fragrances for life. You have completely broke my internal computer. That is a very difficult question. And I'm glad you asked that. The difficult questions is what we like to do here. So, the Mile Elixir, I'm going to have to go with because I could just smell that forever. I want to say Naxos, yet at the same time, it's so similar. It'd be a little tough. I would like some variety. Ooh, that is hard. You know what? Yikes. You really did break my noodle on this one. Okay, so the Mal Elixir, Oud Silk Mood, Extrait de Parfum. Oh, crap. Versace Eros Parfum. I'm going to be honest with you. That's kind of the way I'm going to have to go for just a little bit of variety, but still bringing me joy. Do you recommend Alexandria too? Hey, there's no such thing as too much questions. You guys can just freaking flood me down. I don't give a crap. Load me down with all the questions you can possibly come up with. I appreciate it. I am about to end the stream though in a couple minutes because I decided I would go for a full hour only today. Normally I do anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. I haven't gone to 4 just yet, but we're going to work on doing that at some point soon. But I'm going to end it here in a couple minutes so me and my wife can watch some TV and snuggle. But Alexandria too, just being straight with you, my friend. I love this fragrance. It's very expensive. I love this fragrance. But this is one of the hardest things in the world to recommend to people. I'm just going to be completely honest. It is very, very difficult. Um, it is very mature. I often tell people this smells like if you was to if you were an archaeologist and you just happen to stumble upon a pyramid, like a tomb inside of a regal, like a rich person pharaoh's pyramid that had not been opened for like 3,000 years, and then you walked in and you breathe in, and you're like, wow, this smells like a luxurious person died here a very long time ago. That's what this smells like. I love this. I love Alexandria too. It is extremely powerful, but very hard to recommend for most people. So I would have to ask, where are you from? Where are you from? What ethnicity are you? It probably sounds like a funny question for a lot of people, but it's not. What culture are you of, and what are you used to being around? What type of note profiles are you used to being around? But overall, it's definitely hard for a lot of people to be recommended to. What are your thoughts? Tomi Iyomi Special Monkey. So I actually filmed a review for that the other day. So hopefully you guys might go back and when I post that in a couple weeks, you actually watch it, check it out, give me and some feedback. But overall, I think it's a good fragrance. The caramel notes and stuff in it, as you'll hear me say in that review, if you go watch it later on down the road, um, are not quite my style. So my daughter loves it, but it's not quite my thing. It's very powerful, like most Zerjoffs, but even more so than some. It's very strong and like very last all day type of thing. But I'm not a huge fan of the overall like, caramel qualities and stuff. So it's very well made, very distinct and unique. I like Mind Game. Mind Games has this fragrance. I can't remember the name of it. They've got a fragrance that's more caramel chocolatey, and it was like fantastic. It was done in a way that I was like, I would wear this. But this one in particular, I don't like wearing it myself. So I'll give it some more time. Drop here a great gourmand fragrance. Actually, honestly, I'm always going to throw back good old fashioned Sauvage Elixir, but as well, I would say Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. I know it's not quite necessarily that way, but I feel like it that way. Um, Yeah, even though I don't like this fragrance because it's too syrupy, I think it's made very well. I would say for most people, Angel Share by Killian. What inspired his passion? I'll answer that in just a question. Just a question. I'll answer that in just a question. What inspired his passion? What inspired your question? Wow, look at me. I'm tripping myself up with my own stupid jokes. Best leather. Bodicea Victorious. My favorite fragrance by them is Ardent, but I'm not going to get too many of theirs right now because they're very expensive. Best leather fragrance for me personally, Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum. That's just me personally. I've tried a handful. I really love Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum for me. What inspired this passion though? Also to John, real quick, I'm not the biggest fan of that brand's fragrances. Just to be honest with you, they're not bad, but I'm not the biggest fan of them. Just throwing it out there. So, what inspired this passion? For me personally, also, I do think I missed. Somebody asked a question earlier. I'm sorry if I missed it. So I still need Mancera Red Tobacco Intense. Carlisle is very good, but I definitely will say go ahead and get you Intense Red Tobacco because it's fantastic. My wife loves it, although it did surprise me. So what inspired this? Just a real quick backstory. Not that too many people are going to give a hoot. So as a child, definitely did not have the worst childhood ever, but it was not the best in it by any means. It was a violent childhood in many aspects for a large portion of it. And so my mom, who at one point in time she got really into like fashion and fragrances and all and makeup cosmetics and stuff. She went to school for a while, although she didn't pursue it for fashion, and she went up to New York and did some cool stuff. So basically though, like I remember even going to school with her a handful of times when I was very young while she was chasing after that. It was pretty cool. But basically, whenever things are really getting not good around the household. Just by the way, just throwing this out there, I love both my parents now. We've had a lot of growth past that of me like having time with them. But there's a lot of bad things that happened during that period for most of my childhood. And during that time, I would go like, just kind of go smell my mom's fragrances. I don't know what it was that drew me to it. It's just a thing inside me. I believe that, I'm not being religious or nothing here, just being sincere. I believe that God, like the person who created me, the being that made me, put it in me personally, just like a lot of other people, to be very attached to scent, like the sensations and stuff. And smelling fragrances is just something I went in there and did. Like I would smell her perfumes, and it made me feel calm and happy. So I developed a deep love for perfumery that followed me all the way through my teenhood. I was always known for carrying around. It was mostly at that time women's fragrances because that's all I kind of knew. Until my mom took me to Ulta one day. I used to think it was Sephora, but then she reminded me it was actually a big Ulta. She took me to Ulta and told me pick out whatever I wanted for the most part. Obviously, there was within reason, but my mom pretty much took me in there and said, pick out whatever you want. I get me my first like men's fragrance. I say it like this because again, anybody can wear whatever you like. Like I said, I used to wear women's fragrances exclusively as a young boy and a teenager, and women loved it. The girls around me were pretty into it because, it turns out women like women's fragrances. But my very first one I ever chose was Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. I checked out everything, and to my little teenage nose at that time, it was just really beautiful, really beachy. I love the beach. I love the ocean. I grew up a couple hours away from the ocean, so we went to Myrtle Beach during the summer, like every summer all my life until a certain age. So, because it was like the one time that we had some real peace in the household. So that's pretty much how I got really into fragrances. And from there, I started to continue to realize that not just fragrances as a whole, but spices and food and cook and scent from like cooking and even more like scientifically, we know that like the musky smell of the sweat and other things are connected to your partner and stuff like that. Like we attach fragrance to memories and beauty and stuff, and we connect to it as humans to our hormones. So that's kind of what inspired me to get into fragrances. What's up, Montrese? Super happy to see you, my friend. Best fresh fragrance and tobacco fragrance. Tobacco fragrance. Uh oh. So fresh fragrance. I'm going to say my mind is in the place right now. I personally think of Xerjoff's 40 Knots as being kind of a fresh fragrance because it's a bright, oceanic, fresh fragrance to me. That's a lot of people when they think freshies, obviously they're thinking like more towards the Greenlee type of avenue, Castly, something like that. I I'm going to choose for me 40 knots or definitely like I was just talking about something like Club de Nuit Intense Parfum or Dolce& Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. As far as gear shifting over, God bless you too, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. Real quick, what do I think? or I'll answer that in a question in just a second. Well, actually, I do have an answer. What I think about that. So, as far as tobacco fragrances, though, maybe Carlisle or Harrod kind of hold that, but more than that, probably I'm going to have to stick with Side Effect and for Naxos by Zerjoff. So, how do I think Jesus would smell, or what would he wear? I'm not sure, but if I had to take a guess, um, maybe like frankincense, spices, myrrh. I know that incense and certain things were burned in temples religiously. So if I had to guess, Jesus would probably smell like that. Even like the person of Arjuna in the story, the Bhagavad Gita would probably smell somewhere similar to that as well, like some rich spices, some saffron, maybe some jasmine. So for Jesus, um, as a person in that time, I would say probably something like, yeah, definitely some type of spices, um, and maybe a little bit of similar spices, but also cardamom type of scents being locally used. I maybe would think I'm not too big on like the actual locale of usage at the time, but definitely frankincense, myrrh type of stuff probably going on is what I might think. For fragrance oils, Jesus' feet, it's embedded. Absolutely. La Nuit de l'Homme and Blue Electric version. What's the difference between the two? Um, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure about Blue Electric. Are you talking about Tarathi Blue Electric? If not, I'm not entirely sure, Rami, but I'm sorry about that. They bring Jesus frankincense and herbal fragrances when he was born, too. They sure do, as far as it is presented in the stories of the Gospel. So it is beautiful how fragrance is tied to Jesus because throughout all, it turns out, so here's another cool thing. Throughout all religious histories, ceremonies, religious practices, ritual practices, all that stuff. When I say ritual, by the way, I am referring to all of them, like the Jewish traditions as the developing Israelites and stuff, and throughout the Egyptian times, Mesopotamia, and Persian Empire, as well as the Greco-Romans. Like every time they would go to their temples, their shrines, and do practices, the Druids, perfumery is embedded throughout all of it. Again, whether you're reading the Bible from the Old or the New Testament, when you are reading most of the other texts as well, like the Vedas and stuff, you are going to see incense and perfumers playing a role. So it's kind of always been a part of spirituality and belief and faith to incorporate incense and fragrance and stuff in that as well. So it's been a part of our lives like all across the board forever. So with that being said, just want to throw this out there. Again, my name is Andrew Douglas Moon. I have appreciated sincerely all of you guys taking the time to come through with me tonight. I am going to be ending this stream now, but I'll probably be back on tomorrow. No, not tomorrow night. We're going to go see Together. So, fun fact, just throwing this out there. I want you guys to get to know me better if you're going to ever come back around. I want to get to know you guys better as well. But just a fun fact. So, one of the, probably not that fun actually, but other than being a big time talker and a person who loves to study things and teach religious histories and stuff, as well, other passions of mine involve comic books. I love to read as a whole, but even more so than that, I am very much into movies. So me and my wife go see movies quite a bit, and we have like the pass for AMC, so we get to go a lot and see movies for like multiple times a week. You get like 4 free movies a week at this point if you do the Premiere A plus, whatever it is. So we saw um, Fantastic Four the other day. Before that, we saw Superman, but we are going to be seeing Together. So the new movie Together, that looks pretty good. Looks pretty fun. I'm excited about that. There's a handful of other things I'm excited about coming out soon. So we've seen almost every movie that came out this past year. I know we've seen over 65 or 70 within the past 10 months alone. So that's not every single movie, but most of the big ones that have come out, we've seen them, and some of the independent ones as well. So we love movies. So if you guys do too, you're more than welcome to tell me about some of your personal favorites. That is one of the subjects where I do actually have a direct answer for like what my favorite ones are. But yeah, so we're gonna go see that tomorrow. So I won't be streaming tomorrow, but I will be doing it. I'm pretty sure on Thursday, and then as well on Friday, I'm gonna try to do it as well if I can make that happen. But if not, for sure Saturday and Sunday we're gonna be doing it. So thank you guys so very much. I appreciate you for taking the time to come through and ask questions. Again, as long as you guys are, I understand. Since I do this vertically, I think it is. Since I do my streams this way, it comes through people's shorts feed. I actually just found that out recently. So I know that a lot of random people are coming across this. I'm sure I look like some douchebag to you guys talking about fragrances and stuff. So if that's how it seems or whatever, I'm sorry. to be ruining your day. But I appreciate every one of you guys who take the time to stop through here, to be respectful, to ask questions. So again, you're welcome back here anytime. If you guys want to come back through in a couple days and chill, thank you for being here. It really means a lot to me. Again, I love perfumery. I'm not here to put. I'm not sponsored, so I'm not here to push crap on you guys. I'm just here to love it. So with that being said, I always end my streams with a prayer. You don't have to be, any particular belief system or what have you to be a part of it. I just do it. So if you guys want to be a part of it, it's okay. I'm not going to allow you to make fun of it because it's just not okay for me personally. But if you want to bow your head and be a part of it wherever you're at, that's cool. If not, you're allowed to keep asking questions too. So I'm going to do my little ending prayer now. And then on top of that, I'm also going to finish it off just by showing some more love to the dudes over at Sensual Obsessions because they're really good guys. So I want to show them some love. So real quick, I'm going to do that. So please feel free to pray with me or just keep typing questions. I don't care. But dear Father, thank you for this day that I had. That's first of all fantastic. Thank you for the time with my wife after work as well. We just have a great time every day, like through the ups and the downs. I'm so grateful for my family and for the beautiful people around me. It's just such a wonderful life, and it's hard to believe I went from point A to point B over and over again to end up where I am today. Like again, through the good times and the hard times, I just cannot believe this is my life. So thank you for the beautiful creation and art of perfumery and how it connects to us as humans in every way, shape, and form, and just all other forms of art. So to everybody who's been watching, God, I thank you so much for them and for their lives. And we don't know each other personally, at least not yet. But I pray that they just get to have your peace in their hearts and their lives, and that they come to realize that they just have meaning upon meaning, and that they're not meaningless. That there's so much value and purpose for each and every one of them. And wherever we're falling short, we're succeeding in other capacities. And even if we feel like we're failing altogether, God, I know you're with us. And I just pray everybody gets to find your love and to understand who you are, and that we just have so much meaning in this world. So in your name, I pray and lift all these beautiful people up and hope for your blessings in their life. Amen. So thank you guys so much for stopping through. I appreciate y'all. Real quick, I just did want to throw this out there one more time. These guys have been good to me. They are the only company that's ever actually sent me anything for free. And so I just wanted to tell you, please check their website out. Not because they sent me stuff. That has nothing to do with it. They literally were like, if you don't like our stuff, you don't have to talk about it, or you can, doesn't matter. But Sensual Obsessions, they are really wonderful dudes. These are some of the, like, as you can see, I had to gift 2 of them away because some of my coworkers loved them so much. But Full Throttle, Firepower, Caribbean Waves, and Royal Obsession, literally every last one of these, me and my wife both loved them. So for the fact that they did not miss whatsoever with an entire sample pack, they knew what they were doing. So I just had to throw this out there. Their website's fantastic. Sensual Obsessions, like scent, like you can smell. Please check them out and go show them some love because they are very kind and beautiful people, and really know what they're doing over there. Let me put this in a safe place. As well, like I said, if you ever want to make your own fragrance, it's an extrait de parfum, and it's literally $45. That's like including shipping, I'm pretty sure. So I got to make my own. They have this gigantic list. I know they have one you can increase, so like $10 more, but for the $40 to $45 one, you were able to pick like 6 fragrance notes and get to tell them the percentages of how you want them. So please, ooh, that is beautiful. I went very heavy on the florals, so nobody would really like to hear about this, but definitely go to their website and give them some love because they are wonderful people. So again, they're not sponsoring me. I just want to show them some love. I stopped scrolling about my head and pray. I need that very much. Definitely gain a subscribe. Well, thank you, KJ. Thank you seriously. So first of all, to my friend Ultra Bang, that's a fun name. So what time do I do my lives? Well, right now it is super sorry. It is 8:45 Eastern time, I guess. I'm in North Carolina. So I don't know what time that is for you. It depends on the day, just being honest with you. So I work full time at a candle maker supply company, 7 to 3:30 p.m., 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Me and my wife live an hour away from work, from our jobs. So we stop, we go to the gym, we do junk. So it just kind of depends, especially on the weekends, but any day really, what we have going on. So I don't really know. So I'm sorry that I can't be like mega consistent with you on that. But please feel free to come by anytime if you want to. Again, there's no obligations to subscribe. Because again, I know it's not for everybody. It's really not a successful YouTube plan to do like various crap on the same channel. You're supposed to do multiple channels if you want to do that. But be honest with you, I'm a husband. We got a home. I got a job. So much other stuff. Got kids. I don't got time to do all that stuff. So I do what I can when I can. Fragrances is a big passion of mine. I do these streams. I do my fragrance reviews. I'm trying to get better at the quality of that. So please, if you want to show me some support, go watch the video I just did. Go watch the video of Hawash Tropical and Le Beau de Parfum. Watch it as long as you're willing to watch it because watch time helps me a lot. Leave a comment, that helps a lot. And hit the like button. And even more so, share it to somewhere, wherever your social media, if you're willing to do that. Because again, I would like to be able to actually start making some money doing this at some point and be able to like invest in more stuff to show you guys. So that would be cool. So I just literally got to the point where I can start receiving super chats, which I'm never going to ask you for because that's douchey. But I have had a couple people send them to me. That like literally that was like crazy. It was crazy to me to think that I actually got sent money to talk. So that's really cool. So hopefully I get to the point where I actually start actually getting something for all this, so I can just like do a little something with it. But with that being said, yeah, if you just want to show me some support, just go check out my videos and show some love on there, and I appreciate you guys. Also, a quick hot button topic, but recently I also did a video. Well, you'll go look through my catalog and you'll see what I've done. But yeah, I do religious studies on here, not just like Christianity or something, but like all religious studies and different variations and forms of how I can go about them, so we can do a more cultural and historical study of that stuff, as well as the fragrance stuff and family stuff. So like me and my wife's honeymoon video from 2 years ago, I posted that on here when we went to Germany. It was a really good time. Do I like the House of Mancera? I actually do. They're not one of my favorites, but they have made some really good fragrances. But thank you, KJ, for taking the time to come through for the prayer. I appreciate all you guys. Sincerely. Everybody's welcome here anytime. So, with that being said, me and my wife are going to go watch The Witcher and hang out. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your night. So, thank you for listening to me talk. It's really cool that I get to do this with you guys. So, I will be seeing you on the flip side. I thought I got something else. I just ordered Rayhan Valhalla. I actually have not checked that out myself, to be honest with you. I would love it if you end up coming back through at some point in the future. Please let me know how that was, because I have not even tried it out. I got Rayhan's Tiger, Lion, Rayhan Elixir, and then the Crimson, which, by the way, I was really not a fan of. It just came out. Okay, I don't even know what the notes are, but definitely let me know if you get the opportunity at some point how you felt about it. But like I said, I'm getting out of here. So again, I'm Andrew Douglas Moon. You guys are welcome anytime, and I'll be catching you guys on the flip side. God bless y'all.